I want to begin by wishing my personal best to everyone for you and your family's health and safety during these difficult times. Today, we are confronted with a crisis like no other. What was normal just a few weeks ago, going to school, going to work, being with family and friends, is now a huge risk. There is no question that 2020 will be exceptionally difficult. If the pandemic fades in the second half of the year, thus allowing a gradual lifting of containment measures and reopening of the economy, our baseline assumption is for a partial recovery in 2021. But again, I stress there is tremendous uncertainty around the outlook. It could get worse depending on many variable factors, including the duration of the pandemic. And crucially, everything depends on the policy actions we take now. So what needs to be done? My next point is to focus on building a bridge to recovery. We see four priorities for that. First, continue with essential containment measures and support for health systems. Defeating the virus and defending people's health are necessary for economic recovery. Prioritize health spending for testing and medical equipment, pay doctors and nurses, make sure hospitals and makeshift clinics can function. And we must minimize disruptions to supply chains and refrain from export controls on medical supplies and food. Second, shield affected people and firms with large, timely, targeted fiscal and financial sector measures. Lifelines for households and businesses are absolutely a must. We need to prevent liquidity pressures from turning into solvency problems and avoid a scarring of the economy that would make the recovery so much more difficult. Third, reduce stress to the financial system and avoid contagion. Enhancing liquidity for a broader range of emerging economies would provide further relief to them and to the world economy as a whole. And importantly, it would also lift confidence. Fourth, even as we move through this containment phase, we must plan for recovery. Again, we must minimize the potential scarring effects of the crisis through policy action taken now. This requires careful consideration of when to gradually ease restrictions based on clear evidence that the epidemic is retreating. As measures to stabilize the economy take hold and business starts to normalize, we will need to move swiftly to boost demand. Coordinated fiscal stimulus at this point will be essential. And where inflation remains low and well anchored, monetary policy should remain accommodative. Those with greater resources and policy space will need to do more. Others with limited resources will need more support. And this leads me to the role of the IMF. We are working 24/7 to support our member countries with policy advice, with technical assistance, with financial resources. We have $1 trillion in lending capacity, and we are placing it at the service of our membership. We are responding to an unprecedented number of calls for emergency financing from over 90 countries so far. We don't know yet how our economies and way of life will change, but we do know we will come out of this crisis more resilient. Thank you very much.